It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Good morning. Good morning. Let me unplug that. Hope everybody's feeling okay. I ain't gonna lie, I'm on the struggle bus. What's up, Debbie on Facebook? Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you just checking in. Yeah, I'm on the struggle bus. So this will probably end at an hour in. But yeah, hey Nicole, but I'm happy to be here. I love live streaming. I love talking about news and events. I really hope I don't knock this ring light over. I knocked it over yesterday and it was not funny at all. Good morning, Kia. Can you hear my voice? I'm really on the struggle bus. I've been up early working on projects. I'm just overwhelmed. I said yes in the past 6 to 12 months. I said yes to things that had no clue would take over so much of my life. Starting to really embrace the power of no. But good morning, hey D Bartlett. Hey, Whiskey Nate, look at you. Thank you so much for the subscription. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Seriously. But yeah, let's hop into it. I teased out on Twitter this morning, on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Local activists making headlines again. Shout out to just all the warriors. I talked about something, I kind of touched on it a teensy-weensy bit yesterday on an IG live rant. About just y'all got to check in with some of y'all activists, especially, and I'm going to speak specifically from my perspective, because I am in community with a number of Black women who do this work, who've been doing this work for a while, who are either directly working within like social justice or working for an organization that is about social justice, or just in the community, right? And so y'all just make sure y'all checking on a local voice, a leader, an activist, whatever you want to call them. Check in on them, because it's been a tough year, and it's still like I think one thing from a personal conversation I had yesterday, was that like we never really processed the trauma that we sustained last year. And I don't think anyone has ever, and I always say this, especially when it comes to Black issues, there's never really that mourning period. There's never really that moment of reflection and care offered to Black leaders, Black voices, or folks who just sustained trauma. There wasn't a lot of healing after following Mother Emanuel, and there was a huge need. There still is a huge need for collective healing spaces, safe spaces for Black people, and all that, safe spaces for a number of people. But yeah, so just checking on folks. This stuff not easy to talk about every day, and consuming news definitely ain't easy to do every day. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch the view up. Yeah, so this is the front page of the Post and Courier. Summer makes a splash. Yo, it's been rainy. I ain't gonna lie. So wait, Monday, I definitely got out on my lunch break, sat out at the Battery where those like new benches are, like at the tippy top of the Battery. I don't know how you describe it. But if you hop on the Battery, like from the earliest point, like coming off of Lockwood or whatever, or Ashley Ave or whatever. Anyway, sitting out there, the sun was gorgeous, and then yesterday was a little mix of everything. So I guess now, folks are talking about the weather, talking about impending weather events, and that seems to be top of mind. We know again that the Post and Courier is a finalist for the Pulitzer for their reporting on water. But yeah, it's a wet summer so far. But the story I really want you all to pay attention to. What's up, Anthony Dyer? What's up, cuz? On Facebook, if you're watching, hey, cuz. The one story that really grabbed my attention from the front page, there's a number of stories on the front page, but this one right here, activists step up demands for reform. We're going to get into this. I want to shout out, I know we watched a clip featuring Frank Knack from the ACLU. We're going to hop into more ACLU movement, the Justice for All Coalition, which is, a coalition that I am proudly a part of. And just really interesting conversations are taking place in the thread. I definitely can't engage as much as I used to or as I want to, but there's just really active conversations about these next steps and not letting up, right? Not taking our foot off the pedal. It's going to be hard though when Emily leaves and goes on to her new chapter. It's going to be hard, but I'm so encouraged by the activist voices that have really kept the fight up regarding not just showing up, and the rallies are very important. The rallies get a lot of attention. They keep the focus on the issue. But I love the fact that many of us have action. We're making sure that it's accompanied by literal reforms and recommendations. And so that's what we see here. I wonder why they put Graziano's face on here. Pardon me. So what so that you know, there was a memo that went out from us. Let me just get to that real quick. They put Graziano's face up there, right? But this is the press release that went out on the 22nd, right? From Frank, ACLU, right? My throat is acting up. Okay, here we go. So this went out the other day. Today, Charleston area advocates, the Justice for All Coalition, sent a memo to the Charleston County Sheriff, Christian Graziano, and also a whole host of others, y'all. So Scarlett Wilson got it as well. Charleston County Council got it as well, outlining a series of reforms that each entity must take to make Charleston, I'm just trying to read it in line, to make Charleston County safer, right? So it was addressed to a number of lawmakers. It wasn't just addressed to Graziano, but I guess they featured her in the paper. But this press release went out, and at the bottom of the press release was a link to our memo. The memo is right here. Let me try to blow this up, right? So you can see who we addressed this to. So this is Christian Graziano, Scarlett Wilson, council members on the county council, right? And it's from all of us within the Justice for All Coalition. So that's Black Liberation Fund. Shout out Letitia. Charleston Immigrant Coalition. Shout out Fernando. That's me right there. Ken, BLM, Low Country Action Committee, so on and so forth. So this went out, and it's basically a memo that continues our calls to action and our demands that we stated, that we issued rather back when the Jamal Sutherland video just broke, right? So this is a direct response to that, and it outlines a lot of very special and important reforms here. And it's very, I mean, y'all, look. What page is this? Or it's meaty, and it's comprehensive, and it needs to be. Good morning, Johnny James. Good morning. And it needs to be. And I'm very proud of that. Let me hop back over to the Post and Courier's coverage of it real quick. I'm gonna hop back into it, and I'm gonna read it like I got some damn sense. All right, yeah. Okay, so this is on the front page of the paper today. Coalition calls for council to oversee public safety, new help for community, right? All right, so demonstrate. This is from a previous action that took place a few days ago, I believe. But let's get down to this part. A coalition of Charleston area activists is ratcheting up pressure on elected officials to implement a sweeping series of public safety and social service reforms. In a document titled Revisioning Public Safety, the coalition of 11 groups outlined its demands on June 22nd to the Charleston County Council, Sheriff Kristen Graziano, and Ninth Circuit Solicitor Scarlett Wilson. Right. Proposals included divesting from traditional law enforcement. Yes, y'all. This is what we mean when defund the police. And hey, what's up, Courtney? Good morning. Good morning, Courtney. Good morning, Jennifer Wicker on Facebook. Good morning. Good morning. So this is, when people get all bent out of shape about defund the police, I want you to say this instead, right? When people just don't even like rebut it, like don't even provide a direct rebuttal to that. Just use similar language that you see right here in that second paragraph right there in a document titled Revisioning Public Safety. Use that language, right? Just be a matador with the bullshit, right? And don't fall for the bait in terms of talking about defunding the police, because yeah, we know sloganeering can be problematic. Yeah, we know that specific slogan, it has been the scapegoat for a lot of BS, right? So anyway, but I love that this let me continue to read it though. So yeah, in the document, let's get down here. Proposals included divesting from traditional law enforcement, investing in community programs, right? Building community trust, limiting law enforcement power, bolstering transparency, ensuring protections for incarcerated people, and implementing bail reforms, among other measures. Again, the document is husky, right? The memo comes as Wilson continues to investigate the January 5th homicide, and thank God they put homicide in here, the January 5th homicide of Jamal Sutherland, a 31-year-old black man with mental illness who died in Charleston County Jail after deputies pepper sprayed him, shocked him with tasers, and pinned him to thank you. Is this Gregory Yee? It's like one of the first times I've seen it said the right way. Shout out Gregory Yee. You did your thing right there. That is so perfectly descriptive of, and I'm not being happy about it, but I'm happy that we're calling a thing and we're not dancing around what this was. We're not saying, he died in custody, like some mysterious, like vague reason. I think the reporting has to reflect what heinous acts took place while Jamal Sutherland was in the custody of the Al Cannon Correctional Facility, right? All right, so right, they go on to explain in great detail. Gregory Yee went on to explain in great detail how Jamal Sutherland met his untimely demise, right? And then it goes on to say Sutherland's death sparked renewed outrage among activists who drew parallels to the May 2020 death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. I'm trying to get to the part where they actually kind of cite where we see either reaction from Scarlett and some other stuff. Let's see right here. So one thing that the activists in the thread that I'm a part of, the Justice for All Coalition, I don't think this is something that's not for public consumption. One thing I think folks have been remarking about are the canned, and y'all have been putting me on too. My followers have been saying this too. I think Justin, you sent me a screenshot. So whenever you engage Scarlett Wilson's office on this issue, you get a canned response. And that canned response is not just meant for constituents and voters. It goes out to the press as well, right? So I want to read a little bit what Frank said, and then I'm going to see if there's a quote from Scarlett Wilson. And there's a condescending tone that she strikes that I find very peculiar as well. Others have picked up on it too. It's a very, very designing women, country genteel, that southern shady stuff that don't feel shady, but it is shady. That doesn't, like, on its face, it's not explicitly a slap in the face, but it is, right? That's what, But anyway, let me read this paragraph right here. Jamal Sutherland should still be alive today. The memo began. Our collective stands in solidarity with the Sutherland family and extends our unconditional support in seeking justice for Jamal's wrongful death. Wilson provided the Post and Courier with her response to the memo sent to Frank Nag. Shout out Frank, because so her response is like real weak sauce. All right, so here it is. All right, it is clear you put much thought into your email and 9-page memo. That's shade. That's shade. Yeah. Yeah, Nicole, I see you. Let me read it again. It is clear that you put much thought into your email and 9-page memo, the solicitor wrote. I'm happy to meet with you and all stakeholders to discuss further. From your work on wrongful convictions and with the Innocence Project and with Appleseed, I'm certain you understand the need for a thorough investigation. Girl, you done had this case since January 5. You done had this case since January 5th. You are inept. You and the coroner and all your little cronies, all your little cannon cronies are inept. And this is very condescending. I'm sure because of your work with the Innocence Project and Appleseed, I'm sure you just want us to take our time and be very thorough. This ain't even thorough no more. I don't even know where we're at right now. This is delayed justice. And again, I need folks to understand, take the settlement that the family received, take that out of this whole picture. That wasn't justice. That was a modicum of accountability, and that has nothing to do with us trying to reform the systems that brought about this really sad and unfortunate outcome, right? And so I think sometimes that the settlement is being used to pacify and say, hey, well, you got this. So what are you piping up? And that's why it's important to have a comprehensive effort that extends beyond the direct actions, that extend beyond the immediate demands, the immediate calls for justice, and it has a little bit more meat to it. So check out this story. Grab your library card. Or head to your library if it's safe, and read this story in the Post and Courier from Greg Yee about this update. So yeah, we're ratcheting up. There's no, there's no, we're not done with this, and it's not done just because the family was able to, receive their settlement, which I'm super happy. If there's any silver lining, is that family it won't bring their son back, but at least their pain was acknowledged, right? So that's that. So the memo is 9 pages. And it's thoughtful, and it was a lot. Let me tell you something. I've been very candid. I was not a part of the heavy lifting of composing this memo, and I do believe the memo and other demands listed within is a result of a collective effort that I was a part of. But in terms of the back and forth, the edits, the making sure folks get quoted, the making sure who gets included, there's so much work, tedious work, the unsexy work that no one sees, that went into drafting this memo. So to have Scarlett Wilson, who can't do her job competently, kind of be condescending about the length of the memo and whatever, to me is a slap in the face, because I know how many hours, I know how much time and energy, I know how much emotional labor and actual labor went into creating these lists of demands, and also studying this issue from so many different perspectives, looking at other states, looking at other cities, and what they've done after such crimes have occurred at the hands of the police. So that's one thing about Charleston that I really can't it's almost in every facet. What is this? I'm getting spam. It's almost in every facet. Of culture and life here. I'm just gonna go ahead and ban all these people on Twitch, or whatever these are. I don't know. It's all this whole thing to really just poo-poo the thoughtful, to poo-poo the to kind of dismiss really thoughtful, original idea and thought. It really is horrible. Hold on, let me just try to. Why come I can't? Oh, here we go. This is gonna take forever. Every once in a while, gotta do some housekeeping. Every once in a while. Hold on one second. I'm just trying to clean up the spam, and hopefully we'll be straight after this. Hopefully. All right, let's see. We get them all. Yeah. Yeah, God forbid we come up with actual solutions. God forbid, Nicole, thank you for putting that in the chat on Twitch. God forbid we actually pioneer what change could look like. God forbid we lead the country in actual action, progressive action, or bipartisan action. God forbid we actually lead. We lead in all the wrong stuff, right? Domestic violence, deaths. We lead, we lead in what is it? Domestic violence, deaths. We lead. I'm thinking about secession. First to secede. They love that. They love that stat. All right, so let's hop over to some videos, to some news regarding more law enforcement news. Let me start with this sled clip from WCBD.
And now to more breaking news. This about that double homicide investigation. 2 members of a South Carolina family.
Yo, this saga is really irking my nerves. Like, look, it's the 2 people were killed and murdered. I don't ever want to really be too jokey about that. But the way that law enforcement in this state is allowed to drag their feet and just slowly give us drips and drabs of information, it's criminal in my mind. Like, I don't understand how that's even how that happens.
Investigators have reopened a separate death investigation from 2015 in connection with the deaths of Paul and Margaret Murdaugh. Investigators say Stephen Smith died in a hit and run on Sandy Run Road in Hampton County. Now, we're still working.
So I brought this up the other day, like, that out of all of this stuff that came out, right? Not only was Paul's the boating accident where Paul was drunk driving a boat that killed the young lady, one of the young passengers on the boat. Not only that, but there were all these other either like deaths or injuries that happened or in the Murdaugh like universe, and all of that is coming out again. People are taking a closer look, and so it looks like SLED is looking at this hit and run case where I guess this young, and they mention that he's openly gay. I'm not citing that for effect, but they mention that in some of the reporting that I've read, and there some sort of intrigue or something. I don't want to make an LGBTQ identity synonymous with scandal. I'm not trying to do that, but in the reporting, it seems to be some alleged something going on with the Murdaugh family involving this gentleman that lost his life, and whose family never saw justice. I believe it's a cold case. I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit.
In Hampton County. Now, we're still working to find out what connection his death might have with the Murdaugh's case, but the State Law Enforcement Division says information gathered in this case caused them to reopen the other one. Meanwhile, no arrests have been made in the case of the Murdaughs. They were found dead back on June 7th. So a person we talked to from that small community says they're still in shock weeks later.
Right.
Speculation is running wild in all directions about what might have happened. Being that the Murdaughs are probably one of the more prominent families in the city, I don't know what to make of it. Real mysterious kind of murder.
I ain't that mysterious.
The latest information from law enforcement is brief, but paints an expansive.
I just don't see how I just don't see how there's nothing. So this sprawling estate, just like Nancy Mace, this sprawling estate had to be equipped with all types of security features, right? Whiskey Neat on Twitch, you said, has anyone on here gotten through directly to Scarlett Wilson? No. I haven't. You get directed to her assistant, Fawn. Voicemail? Nah, you had to run up on her. I feel like somebody, not run up on her in a bad way, but like, I don't know how you get to Scarlett, to be honest. And I'm sorry, I know I went back a little bit. Yeah, her email's back every once in a while. Canned responses. Yeah. Thank y'all for sharing that experience, though. That's important, because that type of engagement with our lawmakers is important, and sharing how you are received or not received is important. I tell you one thing: you call one of them city council people sometimes if they had the correct number listed on the city's website in Charleston, they'll be very surprised to get called. I remember like a couple years ago we started calling them around. What was the issue? It wasn't the apology, it was something else, and they were like surprised. They picked up the phone and like, oh shit, constituents are calling me. And that's like the weirdest reaction from a lawmaker, is that you're surprised that a constituent was able to reach you directly. Like that's bananas. And so we need to normalize calling. Yeah, I got you, Whiskey Neat. We need to normalize calling and engaging and speaking to. I know when I see when I would see like Mike Seekings, even though I lived on Wamalo at the time, but when I would see Mike Seekings, when I would see whomever, I would stop them and talk. Whether it was like I didn't like get in their face and like, but I would talk very plainly as I'm want to do. But I think that should be normal. When you're not just this person that wears pretty clothes, on Tuesdays at meetings, and you're not a celebrity, right? You should be seen in the community. Shout out to Evelyn. Evelyn, I was just about to, okay, you just dropped something in the chat. LOL. If you can even get them on the phone, right? And Evelyn shared one time she was out there in her community and she saw Waring out there at some sort of ceremony. And correct me if I'm wrong, mischaracterizing it, but so Waring was out there participating in some kind of whoop-de-woo ceremonial thing. But as soon as it was over, you know what I mean, he is out, and that's weird. That's weird. So we have to normalize reaching out and touching these elected officials. They work for y'all. And the fact that Scarlett, out of there, Evelyn. The fact that Scarlett works for us, but we never can reach her, that she's inaccessible. And honestly, has Scarlett done a press conference open to the public? We see the coroner, and I'm going to go back a couple of days because I missed that coverage of the coroner coming out with the whole recoding the murder from I don't know to homicide. That was a press conference. I know that Scarlett Wilson made herself available to certain members of the media, like a Bill Walsh in her office for a little intimate, back and forth. But has Scarlett done what Graziano has done in terms of having? I think Graziano had more than one press. I don't know. She might have had one. I know I was at one, but she hasn't been as out in the open. And these elected officials, I don't even have to play this rest of this story because it's just infuriating. It's not mysterious. I don't it befuddles me that anyway. But yeah, we need to normalize that. Okay, Jessica. Good morning, Jessica. The lack of wide scale engagement out here is wild, and that's why they run amok. Right? Being outside of DC, we all up in it. Let me tell you something. My time in New Jersey, various times in New Jersey, either working or attending undergrad or even going to graduate school, I would engage a lot, either by virtue of my job that I had or whatever I was doing. I would engage with a lot of community members, and to see like the grandma from around the corner just show up at council meetings or show up at hearings or some type of public event and just just tee off. Like that, you don't see that enough here. But that's what Charleston does. It lulls you into this. It does a bunch of things. It pushes you away if you're a member of a marginalized community, especially if you're poor and you're maybe BIPOC, if you identify as BIPOC, right? It pushes you away, but it also lulls you to this false insecurity. That's why they don't want counterculture. That's why you can't get a wide variety of entertainment and different types of outings to attend. That's why everything's so homogenous. It's to really just keep you in this sedated state of just right? And I think what that does, it seeps into the way we engage with elected officials that really have done so, they have brought about so much change for better and for worse. And the fact that we don't really engage them as the change makers they are is really weird. You got to get all up in there. Yeah, you got it. Exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Y'all get Miss Scarlett together. Y'all just need to pop up. No crazy stuff. I ain't advocating nothing wild. Don't even try it. Y'all just need to pop up on old girl. Is she even going to that office? Because I know they've been protesting every day. Somebody need to find her. When she getting her blowout somewhere, she's getting her eyebrows waxed somewhere, she's getting maybe some, some lunchtime treatment somewhere. Somebody gotta find her and just be like, yo, what's up? Yo, what's good? No confrontation, no angry confrontation. Just yo, what's good? Yeah. So I wanted to get to a piece. I was on the news yesterday. So yesterday, as I was trying to multitask very poorly, I got a call. Shout out to Kate Prestech from to WCBD Channel 2 News regarding Kate wanted to do a story regarding the Gadsden Creek. As you already know, I need y'all to head to friendsofgadsdencreek.com, sign up to become a friend of Gadsden Creek so you can add your name to the list. So when we get new news and we're trying to mobilize folks, we can just go ahead and send you an email and keep you up to date on the latest movements and our efforts. But Kate Prestech noticed that the story was kind of like falling by the wayside kind of quietly. There wasn't really a rebuttal, and so she reached out yesterday really quickly for a real quick turnaround story, and I'll play it now and I'll read your comments.
It's still a functioning creek. The go-ahead given by DHEC.
Let's rewind it a little bit.
It's still a functioning creek. The go-ahead.
Yo, and don't judge my light situation. I on everything. I had the light up, the windows up, the light, it kept just like the sun just kept going in and out, and I just looked like I look like Violet from Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory in terms of color, not roundness, but like my face looks like ashen and blue. I look like I just anyway, my old ass childhood references. All right, let's play the damn story.
It's still a functioning creek. The go-ahead given by DHEC means that West Edge is one step closer to becoming a reality.
There are a lot of dominoes
what
that
is
have
the
yet
color?
to have fallen. This is a huge domino.
Gadsden Creek is more than a stream for a lot of people. It went from a place where baptisms were held to a slum clearance site to a waste management effort.
This is actually a page.
I'm gonna rewind that, right? Don't mind my ashen appearance. Listen to how first of all, Kate did her research. She might have just went to the website. I sent her a bunch of different communications, but she probably just did her due diligence. Listen to this, because this actually is consistent. Thank you, Evelyn. This actually is consistent. Oh, someone gave it to Evelyn. Thank you, anonymous gifter. Evelyn, you got hooked up. I really appreciate the support, seriously. But yeah, listen to how she lines up this thing, and I got some notes. Shout out to Cyrus Buffum. Shout out to Cyrus Buffum, who helped me. I prepped and pre-gamed with Cyrus real quick before I hopped on this interview. But listen to how she lines up the history of Gadsden Creek. She did her homework.
From a place where baptisms were held to a slum clearance site to a waste management effort.
This is actually a page from a very old book.
Now, Mika Gadsden from the group Friends of Gadsden Creek says the effort is being labeled as flood mitigation, and she says it's too important to replace with development.
All it is land seizure. All it is taking of property, taking of natural resources from a community just to build another either condo or parking garage. It's not doing anything that would serve the community that is directly situated next to the creek.
Michael Maher, the CEO of West Edge Foundation, says
at home,
their initial
y'all.
effort
Boo
was
Michael.
to clean up the creek for use, but now they say it's no longer an option for them.
This is a very unique situation whereby
I don't even want to play his propaganda, right? And shout out to the people who sent me the local reaction to the members of the neighborhood association or the neighborhood. I think it is. There are two factions. Michael Mayer and West Edge have infiltrated the neighborhood association. They've been in, they play the long game, y'all. They've embedded themselves, and not just there, in schools, within nonprofits, right? They are technically, as Cyrus pointed out yesterday, technically they are a foundation, but y'all, this is not Red Cross. This is not Girl Scouts of America. This is not, Low Country Food Bank. When you see, but they've coded it that way. This is a development effort. These are people who are invested in development, using the designation, the tax designation of a foundation to come in and cause this type of disruption. And they play the long game. So when Michael pops up and talks about, oh, we tried this and we tried that, that's false. Now, and to my earlier point, what I was trying to say is that there has been a reaction from the members of the neighborhood association saying, yeah, this is going to stop flooding. And that's also how Live 5 News carried the story that West Edge is a foundation that is all about flood mitigation. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. They've engaged in very, very shoddy science and shady practices. Whenever they would take samples to talk about the toxicity in Gadsden Creek and how it's irredeemably like toxic, whenever they would take samples, they take the samples right after like a fresh rain. Right, so when all the flooding and all the other debris from the ground has kind of come up, right, and there have been scientists and engineers to point to that, like, hey, what kind of science are y'all doing? Like, we're in community, we're in right relationship with so many people invested in the rehabilitation of this creek, this tidal marsh, this wetland. It's not even funny, and they refute it at every turn. And the fact that this is getting the rubber stamp, shows you how formidable. Thank you, Brandon. Brandon, I got your text message. I've been inundated. Like I got you. Tell Charlie I said what's up. But like I was just going on and on. But I've been going on. Michael is just a propaganda, blah, 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 whatever. Look at y'all. What are y'all doing? Oh, you gifted it to Brandon. You're so nice. I got you. Is Brandon watching? I'm like, what's going on? All right, let me just play this. Let me keep playing the clip. But just don't be fooled by the wholesome, hey, we're just rolling up our sleeves. We're investing in the community. It's funny how like we at Friends of Gadsden Creek, we're investing in the community too, but it's funny how we spend most of our times in the projects, right? And we spend most of our times working with environmentalists and engineers, you know, who have worked on other projects where you can, the toxicity thing. They'll point to the creek saying, oh, it's too toxic. It's no more toxic than any other body of water directly right up there on Lockwood. Than the Ashley River. Shit, Shim Creek is a hot mess. There are parts of James Island that is disgusting in terms of their water. Don't even this little 4 acres. This remaining 4 acres is very important, but modest size. 4 acres is no more toxic than the damn Ashley River, and that ain't no cap. That's all facts. Period.
But now they say it's no longer an option for them.
This is a very unique situation whereby just cleaning up a wetland is not an answer.
Maher
That's
says
not true.
The new drainage infrastructure that comes with West Edge will be able to divert stormwater whilst keeping some greenery and adding an area to showcase the historical aspects of the.
Now, this is where you hear activist pressure influencing their bullshit. This is I'm going to take credit for it. Listen to their new, because I've never heard, and maybe in my Friends of Gadsden Creek, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong off camera, but I've never heard them emphasize the history, maintaining the history. I've never heard them speak that language before. So let's go back one more time.
Just cleaning up a wetland is not an answer.
Maher says the new drainage infrastructure that comes with West Edge will be able to divert stormwater whilst keeping some greenery and adding an area to showcase the historical aspects of the creek itself.
For our solution to work, it requires stopping that tidal inflow. And that's a key component of it.
Although the DHEC green light has been given, Gadsden says she's not giving up the fight for the creek.
We are actively working and organizing to voice our opposition to this latest development.
West Edge says that its purpose is to build shops, homes, and restaurants in support of the Medical University of South Carolina, as well as build economic development throughout the west side of Charleston.
It's not.
For now, live in Mount Pleasant, I'm Kate President.
How's it building economic development? Like, because you're going to bring in what? You gonna bring in a PF Chang's or some shit? Like what? Like you gonna bring in another chain restaurant? Like what? Another ghost kitchen restaurant? You got what? 2 ghost kitchens over there. You got, I'm counting Jimmy John's as a ghost kitchen and Domino's as a ghost kitchen. Like what else? What else you gonna put over there? You know, part of me, and I think I said this other day, and I really don't, this is with the dark side of me. Like sometimes when I get so overwhelmed with like all these pressures, and I'm currently writing curriculum around water conservation right now for another group. And I be looking at other, like I interview activists and New Orleans, who are working down there with post-Katrina work and with water. I'm speaking with folks from indigenous tribes, in the Midwest and in the Southwest. People who are literally putting their bodies on the line to prevent pipelines. Not just Dakota ain't the only one, right? I'm talking to people on the West Coast about like what they're doing, and it's just like there's so much fight that folks have had to put up to stave off this stuff. And sometimes with Charleston, like I'm like, maybe y'all should just let this motherfucker sink. And I'm not talking about the people over at Gadsden Green, but like they filled in all of that marsh over there. It's like part of me is like, it's almost like tug of war where you just want to let go of the rope and just let them fall. Like it feels like that's sometimes when I'm in my deepest like moments of despair and feeling like I just can't get through. That's how I feel. Good morning, Jerome. If you're watching on Facebook still, good morning. I don't know. Yeah. Let me see what you said, Evelyn. The argument is so frustrating. The tidal inflow is exactly what the creek is supposed to do. Exactly. It's a functioning creek. It's a tidal marsh. It's really weird. They count on it sounding scientific, so people would just be like, oh yeah, right, yeah, and the tidal inflow, right. And this is the thing. Shout out Kate. I just want to say shout out Kate. Kate said repeatedly after and before the interview, hold me accountable. She kept saying it like I was gonna. She ain't in my crosshairs. She could, but she not. I just thought that was so cute. She said, hold me accountable. I'm like, girl, I am not a hired gun. I am not going. I appreciate her. She does really sound journalism. Ever since I met her last year. Let me see if I can find this. Bull Street, Columbia. It was in the New York Times. And I pointed to this and it didn't make the cut. None of my juicy stuff be making the damn cut. I got to work on my sound bites. Here we go. Because my juicy, and I try to do things, not rhymey things. I think that's corny. But I try to do things or say things that would like be like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Sometimes I use alliteration, right? So this story came out a couple years ago. And I know this is complicated too. This might not, let me see. This is complicated. It came out in 2019 because there's some gentrification-ish tied up in this. And shout out to my followers who put me on. But I was so happy to see a friend of mine or someone, an associate of mine, who's a friend of Gadsden Creek, be directly related to, or spearhead aspects of this project. This is the Bull Street. Let me just read the headline and stop playing with y'all. All right. From former mental hospital to recreational hub, right? Nearly 2 centuries after it was built, the South Carolina Lunatic Asylum in Columbia has been converted into a mixed-use project known as Bull Street. Now, again, the whole, hold on, my computer's acting up. The whole, the whole like mixed-use thing, let's just put that over there for a second, right? There was an aspect of the project though that was near and dear to my heart because it involved someone that I know. So that's Mayor Benjamin, yada yada yada. Let's see if we can get to it. Let's get to it. Bear with me, y'all. We're gonna go back to video in a second. And I know they got the minor league with the Fireflies is right there too. Yep. Come on. Okay, to me guys are divine. Okay. Hold on. Here we go. Joshua Robinson, an engineer and hydrologist from Charleston, designed a restoration plan to clear the first 1,000 feet of debris and rebuild existing channel. So this is where a waterway used to be. You hear me? Right? So clear out the debris, because burying creeks and streams is a common practice. I didn't know how common this was until I became a friend of Gadsden Creek. I didn't know that people just all around the country just was filling in creeks like for centuries with garbage and like, oh, we don't want that creek to run there, so we'll just build over it. Like it working directly against Mother Nature, right? And so it wasn't until like I met people like Joshua who talked about daylighting creeks and streams. I'm like, daylighting? Like, yeah. Some people, if they don't dump on it, they'll route a creek into a pipe that's underground. And I'm like, wait a minute, people really reroute streams. And if you see what happened to the Gadsden Creek used to be sprawling, like thousands of acres, whatever, like way back. We're talking about way back. And then during the whole dumping, when they decided to dump on black people's backyard to create more real estate, more land, they started to engineer the creek to be like this straight line where the creek used to be windy and free flowing. They've engineered it now. That 4 acres is engineered like a zigzag, like an Etch-a-Sketch almost drew it, right? And I just never knew that developers did this. I didn't know this was a common practice, right? And Evelyn, you're saying, oh, so common, right? Christina Butler's book, that was another. Christina Butler Scholarship is another thing that I stumbled across because of my relationship to this work. Thank you so much for dropping that in the chat. Low country at high tide, goes over how much gets filled. I did not know that. And the fact, like, it's just bananas. I didn't know you could bury a stream or a creek. I did not know you could do that, right? So, again, this is from the New York Times 2 years ago. Yeah. All right. Joshua Robinson, an engineer hydrologist from Charleston, designed a restoration plan to clear the first 1,000 feet of debris and rebuild the existing channel. He then constructed 1,600 feet of the new channel on the surface, freeing the creek from the pipes. So a creek was put in pipes, y'all, in Columbia, not in Saskatchewan, not in Schenectady, right? Not in Sedona, in Columbia. So let's stop acting like this is beyond beyond possible. It's possible, right? So freeing the creek from pipes. Mr. Robinson did not demolish the old pipes, though. He left them in place to build a concrete weir. I don't know what that is. A compact dam structure during storms that diverts high flows into the pipe. So like, oh, okay, I got it. Like he did explain this to me. I think he explains to us. So yeah, so you have another option for the water to flow if there's like a lot of I guess rainwater or other stuff that happens, right? Diverts high flows into the pipes, protects the park from floods. You could and we engaged Joshua. Joshua did a similar mock-up. I wish I had it on my computer, but he did a similar mock-up and design on what solutions could have been placed in the Gadsden Creek area. And they were just dismissed. We walked the creek with then Congressman Keto Beer Ken. I really don't even know his name no more because I call him so many nicknames. Keto Beer Ken, right? So we walked the creek with Keto Beer Ken and his staff, and Joshua had the plans out, like this is what we could do. And Keto Beer didn't want nothing to do with it because it was controversial. But even though he's Mr. Environmentalist, right? No offshore drilling, but when it comes to filling the creek, you ain't got shit to say. I got you. All right. But anyway, so that's what happened there. But I wanted to lift up this work because it's not something that's so far-fetched and outside the realm of possibility. Oh, we can't. What did Michael say? Oh, we can't save. Yes, you can. If you could take an old asylum. Is lunatic ableist? Is that word like gone? Somebody drop in the chat. Hey, Evelyn, is lunatic a bad word? Because I don't know. It feels bad. Feels like the R word, like a word that people used to always use that ain't good. But if they can, I guess it's not, it's in the New York Times. I don't know. But if they can rehab this whole dilapidated whole structure, and I've been there and it's spooky and it's whatever. Now, of course, it has all these new mixed use, whatever. But if they can do that there, and I didn't even show y'all Joshua's picture. I'm such a shady friend. I'm such a shady person. I ain't mean to do that. Let's see Joshua. Here he is. Here's Joshua, right? Joshua Robinson, engineer, hydrologist, designed a restoration plan for the Smith branch in the Bull Street district. So you can see all the channels here. That's amazing work. That's crazy. And I got to walk this. I walked this by myself just to see it. It's just awesome. It can be done. Don't let nobody tell you different. So anyway, shout out to Kate Press Tech with that. I thought that was a really good coverage of it. I'm glad that she got a response from our group really quick. Christine Webb, you said good morning, coming in late, but this was super common in Philadelphia. Tell me more. Okay. But they are striving to daylight them now to mitigate flooding. And that's the thing. You're going to have to correct this shit later. That's what's happening right now. That's what's happening right now. This would be the time to correct it now. Y'all engaged. Y'all did the whole Dutch Dialogues dance. The Dutch Dialogues people even told you, don't fill the creek. The Dutch Dialogue folks said, don't fill Gadsden Creek. Literally, that's one of their recommendations. And so folks have been giving you the solutions. People like Joshua Robinson, people like the Dutch Dialogues folk, people like Friends of Gadsden Creek, and before that, the previous iteration with Waterkeeper. Folks have been advocating to save and preserve this creek and showing you how you could do it. But you can tell that the political will is swinging toward, we just want more condos, more high-priced apartments, more luxury this and that, right? So there's a lack of political will to change it on city council. David Gregory is very, 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 I don't think we could prove it that he got paid from West Edge, but if you will go to certain meetings and hearings, Gregory and Michael, peas in a pie, right there next to each other. And then you'll see on the record Gregory advocating for West Edge very, very vigorously. Shout out to the Charleston Chronicle, who wrote up stories about how shameful that was. Yeah. So yeah, it was so common. Okay, I saw that. Christine Webb, thank you for putting that in there about Philadelphia area. I had no clue. I lived there. I lived near the Schuylkill and all them other bodies of waters that look like Hennessy. All right. All right. So Evelyn says some of it got filled with dead soldiers. What? Where? Wait. Some of what? Yeah, my same react. I'm reading all late. Okay, Jessica, you responded to Christine Webb on Twitch. You says, we built an entire main street over a river in Ellicott City. Oh, wow. Put in impervious surface all around it. And then act shocked when the level, right? Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, you over there by the Joe. I'm like, this shit is like, y'all, it's sinking. It's sinking. You filled it with trash for years. For years. All right. Let me see. I never heard of that. Evelyn, you rocking my world today. Okay. I gotta check out Christine's book. Insane flooding in Elliott City. Did I read it wrong? There was a C there. Elliott City. Wow. That's where we lived. Hundreds of years of flooding in the historic district. I'm looking at Charleston development in Gadsden Creek and seeing so many parallels. Yup. I ain't got time for that. All right. Let me see. I gotta get that in the book. That's crazy. Oh, Ellicott. Okay. I got it. And Evelyn, you went on to say the first time you saw the Halsey map where it overlays old creeks. What? Oh, wow. Every spot that floods used to be a creek. And I said this before, that the water's just coming home. The water's just returning home. Water in nature is going to do what water in nature does. Right? It's gonna move the way it was supposed to move. And we're working against nature as opposed to working with it. And we have so many amazing engineers in this city. Even ones that I guess I don't want to paint it as good or bad, but they're on maybe the side of the establishment. But if they were engaged differently, I would imagine that they would come up with innovative ideas on how to really maintain and preserve the peninsula. But the powers that be, the folks in power, are not looking for maintenance. They're looking for growth, and they're looking for and there's a profit motive. And that's the last thing I'll say about West Edge. Is that, yeah, you're a foundation, but you have a profit motive. Don't act like you're just out here being magnanimous, that you actually want to solve flooding. You don't want to solve flooding. And people are eating that up. Oh, it's a foundation. It was the Horizon Foundation. There were a number of TIFs. We already went through this with Amron and her friends from Pratt. We already went through the scholarship, right? That outlined all of the TIFs. that were initiated, right? Especially during the 90s and whatnot, and how those TIFs set up and made this moment right here it's a prime moment for developers, because you have to deem these areas blighted before you can do the whole TIF little thing, right? And then you just let these communities go underserved, or you just let these problems kind of just mount, and then you come in and you say, oh, I've got solutions, which is part of the game. I know that was a really sloppy way of saying it, but y'all get what I'm saying. You saw I'm gonna bring back that TIF presentation that Ameren and her peers up in New York City that they completed. I'm gonna bring that back, because it's just I didn't do it. I guess I didn't take my time with it, and I kind of it was so much in there, and I want to go over it again. So I think I'm gonna do that. I cannot believe they filled in stuff with bodies. I don't know why I'm surprised. There's like we're on like so many cemeteries and spiritual land. We're on so much stuff. Ooh, Ameren just sent me something. Okay, that's serendipitous. All right, let me back out of here. Let's see. Oh, Andrew Yang. I'm so tired of Andrew Yang. I'm so tired. Right? I wanted to go back to the coroners. Again, I was on hiatus, and this is the coroner regarding the Jamal Sutherland case. I just want to hear. I literally have not listened to her speak, but I'm gonna listen real quick. This is from the 16th. So this is old, but I just want to watch this, and then we're going to get to a Nancy Mace sound clip. Then I'm out.
New at 11, 2 days after Jamal Sutherland's death certificate was changed to say his death was a homicide, the Charleston County coroner updated the public today. Sutherland died in January after being tased several times. His death was initially ruled to be undetermined.
The autopsy failed to identify any fatal injuries. There were no fatal injuries that were identified.
What the hell?
During that process, even through that extensive investigation. And so it was
what
the
did the tape
opinion
say?
Of our forensic experts that Jamal died as
Thank
the
you,
result
Jessica.
of a cardiac event, probably some sort of fatal dysrhythmia, or otherwise known as an abnormal heart rhythm.
Well, she adds that Sutherland's dysrhythmia was created by three main causes, which included his excited state,
listen to
a
this,
change in his medication, and his subdual. Because one of those causes was that, O'Neill says state guidelines suggest it would automatically categorize his death as a homicide.
That's crazy. His subdual. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, when you put a knee on someone's back and restrict their breathing, put their hands behind their back, yeah, it's gonna be a little hard to breathe. I just wanted to hear the coroner's, I already read her response and saw the whole recoding it from undetermined to homicide, and now we're waiting to see if there are going to be charges, which is really, really sad. Yeah, I don't want to play that. Oh yeah, this real quick. Shout out to the homies that were here yesterday.
Today, the black voter.
I was invited at the last minute. I couldn't make it work, but look who showed up, y'all.
Matters voting rights tour made a stop at the State
Shout
House.
out
The tour
Black Voters Matter.
Speakers and voter education workshops to support voting rights legislation and build black voting power. Organizers believe a surge of black voters could turn the Palmetto State blue one day.
Voting is very, very important.
Look at Elder Johnson.
Important in the midterm election. My thing is that we can turn South Carolina blue.
Now hold up.
Together
hold up.
To do that.
You got a little too much dip on your chip. Hold up. I don't know about no blue. Maybe purple. Maybe blurple. No, purple. Purple.
Follow the example of Georgia. It's not that we can't.
We sandwiched between two states that's got their shit together. We just not it, dog. But I love his optimism.
Do it because you got over 100,000 black people who's not registered to vote, and 300,000 who don't vote is
That's
already
real.
registered.
That's real. There's potential.
John Johnson also stressed that voters should check their voter registration, since many people will be purged from the voter registration roll if they have not voted in more than 2 years.
Okay, that's crazy. We got use it or lose it, y'all. Like, for real? I didn't know we had use it or lose it laws like that. That's crazy. All right. But we gonna check ours, because you know my mama don't play with that. All right, so it's been a real not fun game of pylon. Like, look, y'all know I ain't no fan of Kamala Harris, right? If you follow my account way before
in May of this year,
if you follow the Charleston Activist Network Instagram account for a couple years, you would see the most hilarious memes, the most scathing rebukes. Not the biggest Kamala Harris fan, but know this. They are, this little game they're playing where they're attacking the VP. It's so racially coded, y'all. Like, I kind of resisted that because I thought that was lazy analysis. But I'm trying to think, when has a vice president been the target of so much? Not, you know, Mike Pence would do stuff. Mike Pence has done stuff as a radio host. Mike Pence did stuff, said stuff. But I don't know, and I don't know if this is revisionist history, but I don't remember Mike Pence like getting it like this. Like, he's a whole, you know, calling his wife mother and can't be around women and all that stuff. But to have like all these elected officials, all these members of the GOP hop on every damn camera and attack Kamala because she's not at the border, like, because that means something. Even though she took her ass all the way to Central America, told people not to come. We ain't gonna talk about that debacle. But like, she's going to where the issue is, and it's like, y'all are on this why is she not at the border thing, and when she goes to the border, what you gonna say next? It's so, to me, it has to be racially like motivated. I've never seen, like, they look for boogeymen, just like critical race theory is a boogeyman, right? Ain't nobody even teaching critical race theory in K through 12. Nobody's teaching in K through 12, but we have all these protests popping up like, don't teach our kids critical race theory, right? Anyway, it's like they create these boogeymen, and I know that they oftentimes make sure they use a person of color, like the immigrants who are seeking asylum, like Kamala Harris, who is half black, you know, half Indian, you know, just insert the person of color, the issue dealing with people of color. It's just really, I was gonna say Big Bird, but I ain't want to say it. You kind of reading my mind, sis. I ain't want to say it. But let's listen to what she has to say. You know, she's got a lot to say.
Here to assess whether the vice president really is just too smart to do things
Listen
like,
to this.
you know, answer a straight question or solve the border crisis her policies created is Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina. I couldn't believe this. You know, this is the explanation. She makes a complete mess of it, and it's because she's too intellectually curious. I mean,
she makes a mess of what? Makes a mess of what? It's June. Made a mess of what? Her party literally stormed the Capitol. What are you talking about?
What are they? I mean, what is this about?
So now
is she intellectually curious?
Now they're calling her, and this is pot calling kettle. You're calling Kamala, like, I can attack Kamala all day on her politics and her time in office, her time as a prosecutor, but we ain't calling her dumb. But see, this is what Trump did with Maxine Waters. Kept calling black women stupid. They even tried it with Stacey Abrams. They keep calling black women stupid. They keep questioning black women's ability to think. And this shit is not. This is a trope. This is tried. This is tired. This is real. Can't nobody tell me otherwise. This is 100% racially motivated. And for this bobblehead up here who can't even fucking find the fucking clues, you know, on her Ring doorbell camera about who vandalized her house, you got the nerve to, and see, as a woman elected official, she should have pivoted. She should have like rejected the premise of this question and pivoted away. But look at Nancy. Nancy never gives up a moment to attack another woman. She'll never, ever give up a moment to attack another woman. Going back to her Citadel days. You the first graduate because the first woman that tried had a horrible experience. You're the first because that institution put that other girl through hell. And you never acknowledge what that girl went through because you are tough enough to survive. That's the shit that you ran with Nancy. I'm talking to her directly like she's in my living room. But like it really boggles my mind how she never passes up an opportunity to undermine another woman. And she used to do this with AOC. And now she's doing it with Kamala. You couldn't hold Kamala's damn ink pen in her law school. Like you don't, please, let's stop it. Let's stop it. Please. She is a pick-me. She is, exactly. And that's the thing. I ain't gonna go too far. One day I'm just gonna come out. You are a pick-me. Your whole aesthetic, ma. Your whole aesthetic is about pick-me. It's about appealing to the male gaze. And so how else do you do that? By jabbing at women, right? That's how you get into the boys club is talking shit about women, right?
Enough to look at a map and find her way there. It's just, it's curious that, I mean, over
yeah, she's
150
dumb.
days now into Biden's presidency and our borders are, Vice President Harris has yet to visit the border. Literally, she has spent more time, Steve, addressing climate change and space than she has on addressing her border crisis.
You dummy. Your whole president came up with the Space Force. Your whole president came up with Space Force. Not only that, dummy, you observe climate from space. Big dummy. I know you against education and free lunch and stuff like school lunch and stuff like that. I know you're not the best, I know, Nancy, that you don't like that stuff. But like, again, not a fan of Kamala, but come on. Like attack her on something she's done. Or okay, if you want to attack her on not going to the border, hit that. These cheap jabs, I would say they're beneath Nancy Mace, but this is really on brand. And the next time the Post and Courier wants to prop her ass up on the front page just to try to get a Pulitzer, like I hope they play themselves because she's gonna keep putting her foot in her mouth and she's gonna step over the line because she can't resist it. She will get closer and closer to Marjorie Taylor Greene. If Marjorie Taylor Greene keeps winning and keeps raking in that dough, she will continue to go closer to that line because she is starved for attention, for real. With this little asymmetrical bullshit. Get out of here.
Crisis. And
remember when they used to come at Michelle Obama for wearing her arms out? Remember that? Call her a man and all that shit? Remember that? I love how the GOP is just so just...
This tonight, in May of this year, there were 150,000 more migrants along our border in May of this year than in May of last year. And this is a massive crisis, and she's just looking the other way.
No, she's not.
Exactly. The numbers are just staggering. I mean, we see them. We're down there.
Shut
Fox
up,
is down there. We're seeing
Jessica.
these numbers. Bill Malugin reporting on it. You've got this just a sort of non-stop flow. Of course, all of it in response to their policies. She said it. In the campaign, she said that she wanted.
No, what did she say on the mic? Don't come. Don't come. I don't agree with that. You have a right to seek asylum. But what did she say? Do not come. Y'all took a simple phrase that was just right, straightforward, don't come, and y'all turned it into, look at her policies. Look at she's welcoming me here. She won't go to the border. What's she supposed to do with that? What? Look at y'all raggedy ass wall? That ain't a wall? Y'all fence? What's she supposed to do at the border? Do what Henry Master did and talk to the National Guard troops? What's she supposed to do at the border? Tell me what she's supposed to do at the border. Stop everybody, put her hands up like a mall cop? Like be a mall cop at the border? What's she supposed to do at the border? Hey guys, you can't come in here, you kids.
To have free healthcare, education, all of it's a human right, whatever it is, come in, we'll pay for it. I mean, and then now they turn around and say, oh, we want to solve the root.
Oh, Mev on Facebook, if you're still watching, I heard about her time in them Title I schools. Mev on Facebook said, but she can come to Title I schools and talk about her struggles. I think she even cried, if I'm not mistaken, from the people I talked to. I think she even cried to black men who are also in the schools. At the same time, cried to them about how she didn't know what was going on. Mev, you also said she's first because someone. Let me see. Let me pick it up and stop acting like I got good eyes. All right, she's first because someone had daddy help her out. Absolutely. Thank you, Mev. I hope you're doing well, Mama. Yeah, whatever. Your husband heard me say what? What did he hear me say? The mall cop, but no, anyway, Nancy Mace is a whole mess. It's just really, it's a mess. This is a mess. I don't know what's to say on the Chiron. Intensely intellectually curious. So she said this, and so now everything that comes out this woman's mouth, they attack. She should just start speaking in like Jamaican patois and really fuck with them. Really scare the shit out of them. She should start speaking in whatever Indian dialect, that's part of her heritage. She should just start doing that shit. Like that'll really, you want to quote me? You want to put what I say on the Chiron? Start speaking that patois. And really get them intensely intellectually curious. Former aide blames Harris's overseas debacle on brain power. They got nerve, and I'm telling you, this is coded. Just like calling black women a bully, just like attacking black women. She's not dumb. Kamala's a bunch of things. She is not dumb.
The root causes are their policies.
No, absolutely. And don't forget, Steve, that in the middle of COVID, when teachers were not teaching in classrooms, they were urging teachers to volunteer to teach migrant students out along the border and in California as well. So, and rather than American students that were left at home and left behind, even worse. And we've seen smugglers actively.
Let's talk about your state, bitch. Let's talk. See, she be making me mad. Let's talk about your state and education and being last. Let's talk about that. While your governor was traipsing along the border in some damn boots, spending taxpayer money down there. Let's talk about your schools. Okay, let's talk about your district. She is so annoying. I can't even watch. Y'all ain't gonna have me run up my blood pressure. No, she make me mad. She made me use the B word. I'm just the B word like I'm 12. Look, she just, to me, it's really, really sad. Like the border thing, that's Nancy Mace's thing, and we know the whole Photoshop AOC at the border crying, all that. She just hates that any compassion, any show of compassion to folks seeking asylum, which is a right, which is legal. She has a problem with
advertising their deals online on social media. You've got fentanyl is up over 300% at the border as well. Human trafficking and the arrest of criminals who are rapists at our border is up.
Oh, wow. Oh, we're not even dog whistling no more. So we just Trump. We Trump with half a blowout.
3,000%. And so this is a massive humanitarian crisis that's not being addressed at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, massive.
It's a massive humanitarian crisis, but you just criticized the administration for sending teachers and volunteers to help with the humanitarian crisis. Tell me what you want. Kamala should just say build a wall and see what happens. That's what she should do. All right. Anyway, let me go. I got a lot of work to do. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the anonymous subscriptions. Thank you for gifting subscriptions to other people. Thank you for just checking things out. I appreciate the support so much. For real, it makes tough days like this. I'm on a struggle bus. It makes tough days like this worth it when I see just people just engaging in the. Sorry, I'm being loud on your family. If you have kids and spouses or partners, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. She doesn't do this with white women. Just to answer your question, Jessica. She does. I haven't seen it. Show me the Carfax. Maybe old girl Shannon at the Citadel, she might throw some shade that way. But she got a thing for women of color because they know that's easy fodder. Like that's an easy target for them. And you're scared by this woman with melanin. This light-skinned woman who's married to a white man. We're so scared of her. Oh. Anyway, y'all take care. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30. Hopefully I'll be off the struggle bus. All right. Bye.